Team.
Down this way, ready this way? I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hold on a minute. Everybody up. Us old people have to get up. Let's do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you please take the roll call?
Trustee Burt? Present. Trustee Favdal?
Present.
Supervisor Miller?
Here.
Clerk Triplett here. Trustee Clee?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Campbell? Present. And Treasurer Anderson?
Present.
Thank you.
Do we have any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda? I think so.
Is this an addition? Is the calendar an addition?
No, that's on
Is on
here.
there?
It is? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh, did
It's
you?
not on there.
Then we'll have to add it. There's some corrections to the meeting dates in, or holidays for the township. So it won't affect meeting dates, does it? It doesn't,
No,
does it?
it didn't, it
Right.
didn't change any of the meeting dates. It was just the
We're just
the
gonna ask the-
holidays at the
The
end.
days off.
Board to recognize the holidays observed. So let's add that to, it'd be action item.
Addition.
I.
No, you're fine, but I thought.
Amend the 2023 calendar. Thought it was on here. Good call. Any other additions? I don't think so. So,
Did we add it to the agenda?
yes, action item I.
All right, sorry. I'm corrupting her.
This other piece that's here, is this an addition or not
No,
necessarily?
it's just informative.
Isn't that information, is that information for us, isn't
I
it?
know it's on there, I didn't know. if
So,
that-
the software was giving you problems.
Yes, it was.
And so I don't know that that was printed out, and I think Madam Clerk provided a hard copy for everybody.
Right,
But
for
the action
H.
item's on there for action item H.
For H.
The resolution's in there, but the documentation is right there. And you passed out that information to everybody before the meeting? All righty, so
Now, this
that's,
is, that's in reference to H, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just
And I think that's
making
it.
sure my notes are all right. I'm messing them.
so, moving on to number 5, are there any corrections to the minutes of the regular board meeting of December 19th? No corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from December 19th, regular meeting, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Approved. We move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium and give us your name, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
Hi, my name is Elise Olivo, and I have a question there, well, a couple actually, but one of them is, there is a, like, easel-type thing that's at the corner of Dye and Lennon Road that I've called like 4 or 5 different times, and I'm being told that they won't remove it, and it flies all over the place, so I want to know why it can't be removed. They said it's because it's chained, but I don't understand what that has to do with anything.
At I'm sorry.
Dye
Dye
and
and Lennon, or are you talking Lennon?
I'm sorry,
and
Lennon and Dutcher.
Dutcher, correct. I've gotten out and looked at it myself the first time I saw it.
It's been there for almost a year,
It's,
Okay. We can.
and I've called about it 4 or 5 times.
it's regards, we're not having a discussion, I'm sorry. I know what it's about, I can tell that if you'd like. Mention-
What is it?
It has to do with, you're right, it has to do with the road commission and when they repaved part of Dutcher and that, and it has all of the contractual agreements and all of the, and like I said, I looked at it as well, wondering why haven't they taken it up yet? But it is chained and locked to the telephone pole for every OSHA piece, all those particular parties that are involved in it. So a call to the county road commission wouldn't hurt, because it's time that it goes.
I'll call them tomorrow. Anything else?
Yeah, there is quite a few, like on Lennon Road and Dye Road. I have the pictures. I didn't write the addresses down. I don't think that I should have to do that. But there's a Jeep that looks like it was driven up on great big boulders that's been sitting there for about a year. There's cars. There's junk next to the Jehovah's Witness. There's a house that is just trash. And this stuff has been there for a long time, and I haven't said anything. I've let it go, but I live in this neighborhood. I pay taxes. I would like to have this, I'd like to see it. Lennon Road is a mess. Lennon Road, there is houses on Lennon Road between Dye and Elms that look horrible.
Can you bring that list into the building department, please?
Yeah, do I have to bring the addresses? I don't, okay, well, I don't know. I guess I'm asking, why do I have to bring the addresses when you have
If you
code
want to make a
enforcement
complaint,
too?
we can go out on a general, in the general area and look, but it'd be easier. You don't have to, I'm just requesting it. If you
Okay,
don't have it,
yeah, I'll do it. If you ask me to do it, I will do it, but I mean, you can't help but see it.
I understand.
So, but yes, I will do that since you asked me to do it, but I don't see where I should have to do it, but I will,
Have to.
I will.
Thank you.
There's quite a few of them that are, I got 10 pictures right now, just on Lennon Road. So I will drop those off for you.
I didn't catch the last name, Mrs.
Olivo.
Okay.
L-E-V-O.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Lisa Olivo, A-L-E-V-O.
Anyone?
Oh.
Happy New Year to everybody.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Good hat.
It's all, huh?
Good hat, thank you.
Yeah.
I think they lost.
Well, this is the first time I've seen you since then, but I just thank God for being here. But it was something brought to my attention today that I agreed with. I heard about it, and our supervisor was there. She heard about it as well. And it was mentioned about having, well, I put it into the form of having prayer, as well as we pay homage to our Pledge of Allegiance. How much more should we pay for our Creator? And I think that, you know, all of our meetings that I've been participating in, I think we need to, you know, bring it to the point that if we can pay that much homage to Pledge Allegiance, well, maybe we could at least have prayer. Prayer is the key. And when we, at my church, most of the churches I go to, we talk in reference of an acronym called PUSH, and it stands for Pray Until Something Happens. So that's what I think we kind of need to make that consideration and see what we can do with that, right? I thank God for you. Thank God for your ear. And let me say one more thing. Flint Township, you know, I think one of our logos indicate discovering Flint Township. Right, Tracy?
The DDA says.
Is that right?
Yes.
So my mention is, I think that if we're going to discover something in Flint Township, we need to get something here that everybody would gravitate to. And I know we have our Halloween thing and our little Christmas thing and all that, but I think we need to have something in the form of curb appeal as well as something that's going to bring that revenue to Flint Township. You know, we got a lot of different townships and cities. They have different things and different parks, amusement parks and things of that order to bring that revenue. So I think we need to kind of pay a close attention. This is 21st century, 23, right? So if we would, and one of my prayers have been, Ms. Vert, that I volunteer more for the things that we need to do to gain that curve appeal mindset. Bless you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? No? Alrighty. We'll move on from public comment and we'll move on to reports. I'd like to also say and wish a Happy New Year to everyone. Glad to be alive in 2023. Had a lot of people I lost in 2022, and it was a tough year. I wanted to ask, as we go forward, the end of the week, we're expecting snow, and in our road did I see that? Yeah, I saw snow.
That's a four-letter word, you know.
Forecast. Anyway, during our road advisory committee, we talked about making a recommendation for ordinance for not parking your car on the streets if there's 5 inches or more of snow. So we're going to work on that at the road advisory committee, but it makes plowing for the roads for the road commission easier. It also makes it easier for police and fire and ambulances to get through when the road's plowed well. And as Mr. Leverett, and I'll say it again when we get there in the springtime, when it comes to mowing, we have an ordinance that doesn't allow you to have your grass clippings go in the street, so I'll remind everybody then. It's a good idea to keep your catch basins clear if you have one in front of your house or near your frontage of your house so that water's draining and not freezing. It would prevent any road problems also. And the new schedule for the MTerra trash pickup is on our website. And It's the same as usual. Yard waste pickup will begin the first week in April, Thursday, the first week in April, and it ends the last week, Thursday in November, which is Thanksgiving, so it's usually Friday. And they're closed on 5 different holidays, although this year, Christmas and New Year's, because it fell on a weekend, didn't delay the pickup. But you can find that calendar on the website, and I think that's all I had to say. Madam Clerk, do you have a report for us this evening?
I do not at this time, no.
Madam Treasurer?
I have the treasurer's fourth quarter investment report included in the packet. All of the changes are highlighted in yellow. We were a little excited, Kevin and I, that we are starting to see a little bit of increase in interest rate. We had 5 CDs that matured in this month, December, and so we rolled those over for 9 months, but then we're looking at a 2.55% interest rate on that. So I would ask that
That's
this.
a pretty, is that a good
That's good.
increase?
Yeah. Yes, from what we've been dealing with.
That's what I thought.
It's a very good increase, so we're excited about that. So I would ask that this report be included in the minutes for review by the auditors.
Great. Alrighty. Number 8, Madam Treasurer?
There's
Oh.
more reports.
Sorry,
Starting
I'm
down
moving
there.
along too quickly. Trustee reports. Do the trustees have a report? Trustee, please.
Ms. Bird? No? All right, I'll go last. Just try to be that way. First things first. Mr. Leverett, I'm going to comment, and it kind of touches base with what you were leading to. You guys all know I'm an instructor. I'm a school teacher. I'm around kids all the time. And I'm also around athletics a ton. And yeah, I'm going to talk for a minute, so Dave, lean back, get comfortable. This is not. This has to do with several issues that are going on, and I just want you to understand why I'm talking about it. As a school teacher, I go to the building each and every day with the intent that you send your most prized possession to me. There's a couple of you in this room that I've had the pleasure of being around your kids, and you allowed them to be in my classrooms. Learning from other instructors and learning in my day, it's not a job, it's a responsibility for me to go into that building. I have a responsibility to go into that building and do my very best that I can in here. And when you send your child to me, it's my responsibility to send them back to you in the same or better state than what they came. I can't allow anything to happen to them. With the blessing of the gentleman in the blue shirt over there, shine on his head, he has trained our officers to be extremely reactive and supportive. He actually was one of the officers that were in our building for a long time. It was a nice thing to have, and you thought, this is kind of cool. May I ask you, Chief, was it 20 years ago? It's been about that, hasn't it, sir? Correct. Okay. Things have changed in 20 years and going into that building. There's 2 firefighters in this room tonight, and they've been through our building, and they're doing checks and making sure that the fire suppression systems are working. And Chief Salter's been with our people making sure the building is locked properly. We've got some tremendous locks. But I want you to take a second, whether it's athletics, whether it's educational, whether it's in the theater, whether a youngster is going to dance or whatever it might be. There was a 25-year-old young lady last week that was shot in a classroom in Virginia by a 6-year-old child. And I'm asking that we think about what goes on every single day in the classroom, at Walmart, in Meijer, in the theater. That 25-year-old young lady is still in critical condition. That young man, and Mr. Leverett, what I started with, you asked about prayer. I think we all need to consider the care that I would put that poor little 6-year-old and his family. We need to be need to be concerned about that young man and young lady. I don't even know what was that young child and what their family is going through. Besides the 25-year-old young lady who is still in critical condition. And now the sports end of it. Not this Saturday and Sunday, but last weekend, young man went down. Freakish accident. He got out of the hospital today. They let him out. It doesn't matter where we are or how important it is, but I want to say this. I'm going to look down the end of the table to a young lady at the other end whose father allowed me to be an athletic trainer on her sideline. And I was taping ankles, and I was helping kids with broken fingers and kids who dislocated their shoulders when they dove for a ball and went down, and I helped him pop it back in. He went back in the game in my senior year. Great young man. God rest his soul. But it doesn't matter if it's athletics, it doesn't matter if it's education, it doesn't matter if we're going to the theater. It matters that that young man on that football field was saved by the assistant athletic trainer. He put 10 solid minutes of CPR and then rode in the ambulance. And they honored him the other night. He said, I don't want to be out here. It's what I'm supposed to do. I want you to know it's what I'm supposed to do. And it falls right back to this, sitting here, what we're supposed to do here in full circle. I can talk a lot. Sometimes I just ramble, but I try to do my work. I try to do what I can best for everyone. And I want you all to consider those three people. The young man from last week, the little guy or gal, and his or her family, and the 25-year-old teacher. It's tough. It's different than when Chief Salter was in our building and you didn't think about those things. Now we have to think about it every day. You walk through a metal detector to go to a sporting event. Why? Thank you. Sorry. I'm not sorry.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
So if there's no other trustee reports, we'll move on to staff reports.
Thank you. I go first real quick. Since our last board meeting, your PDs responded to over 1,900 calls, which is a 96 average per day. Of course, that number doesn't include the 240 traffic stops, 150 business checks, and 59 residence checks. Right before our last board meeting, on December 19th, we were dispatched to a medical call involving a 1-year-old child. The 1-year-old has recently passed away. After an extensive investigation revealed that the 1-year-old had been purposely given narcotics. 2 people have been charged by the Genesee County's prosecutor in this heinous crime. Timothy Combs, he's 30 years old, and Jasmine Jones Bonner, who's 32. They've been charged with assault with intent to murder, child abuse first degree, torture, and delivery of methamphetamine to a minor. So I want to make sure I said the names in a public meeting. We also investigated 2 different fatal accidents, one on 75 in Pasadena, where speed appeared to be a factor, and one on Cronin 75, where speed and alcohol was not a factor. We also had a homicide in the 3300 block of Clover Tree. One 24-year-old male was shot and killed by a 27-year-old after there was an altercation between the two in their vehicle. All right, that investigation is still ongoing, and I have one action item for the agenda.
Chief Beckley.
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, your fire department has responded to 87 incidents. Several of them happened over the week of Christmas, where it was extremely cold and windy. We responded to multiple sprinkler line breaks throughout the township, including the Genesee Valley Mall, GFL on Bristol Road, and Logan's Roadhouse. We did assist with shutting down the water to all of those systems, ensuring that there was no fire hazards on scene, and then working with the owners, managers to get those buildings back up and running. That's been an ongoing process with the building department and the fire department to try to help out these businesses. On Christmas Eve, we responded to a house fire in the 4500 block of Old Carriage. We arrived to find fire under and behind a fireplace due to a failure of that device. There was a lot of overhaul that needed to be done since the fire was behind a brick enclosure. It all had to basically be ripped out. Very labor-intensive work there. But luckily, there wasn't a ton of damage to the house. It was mainly contained to that area. On the 30th, we responded to a vehicle accident along with the police department northbound 75 around Miller Road. Fire crews arrived on scene to find about a 6-vehicle accident with one person trapped inside of one of the cars. They had to be cut out with the jaws of life. We did assist with traffic control on that incident along with the police department until they were able to get all the vehicles out of there. On the January 6th, we responded to the 6,000 block of covered wagon trail for a house fire. We arrived to find an attached garage on fire. Luckily, we were able to quickly extinguish that. There was a large amount of contents inside of the garage of that house, but luckily the damage was contained to the garage only. There was no extension into the house. The cause of that fire is still under investigation, but doesn't appear suspicious or anything like that. On the 7th, we had a structure fire in the 1400 block of Foxborough. Luckily, that was contained to one wall where an outlet had caught on fire. Very minimal damage. Last night, we responded to a structure fire in the 1200 block of Bel Air. Right after we were dispatched to that call, we were also dispatched to a fire alarm at Linden Lane Apartments. While our crews responded to the house on fire, Swartz Creek Fire Department assisted us on the Linden Lane incident. Fire crews arrived on Bel Air to find heavy smoke coming from the roof in the attic area. That house had a lot of contents in it as well, so there was a lot of overhaul work that had to be done. We actually had to cut several holes in the roof to get to all the hot spots and get that fire out. We were assisted on that incident by Burton Fire Department Station 1. Luckily, the Linden Lane incident was a false alarm. There was no fire, and Swartz Creek Fires assisted us to cover our jurisdiction while our crews were all tied up on Bel Air. This morning, we were called to a structure fire at Knights Inn on Austin Parkway. We arrived to find light smoke coming from one of the rooms there, and the fire was found to be in one of the heating and air conditioning units. That unit had to be completely removed. There was some fire damage in the outlet and the plug under it as well. Luckily, it was all pretty much contained to one area. That is 4 structure fires so far this year, all within the last 4 days. So only being 9 days into the year, it is definitely a little alarming. And just so you guys know, we are applying for a FEMA Assistance to Firefighters grant, utilizing our grant writer that we used several years back. We are applying for about $140,000 worth of exhaust removal systems for our fire stations. Our current systems were put in the late 1980s. And these would be a great addition to our stations to help make sure that all that diesel exhaust is removed appropriately. Our current systems are starting to age on us, giving us some issues, and the maintenance costs are high. So we will be applying for that. That grant period just opened today. So just kind of an overview, 2022, our total call volume was 1,137 incidents. This is up from 2021, where it was 924 calls. We're up about 23% last year. And going back to 2017, it's about a 46% increase in our calls, where we ran 778 incidents back in 2017. We will have a full annual report coming out to the community probably in February sometime that will kind of break down a lot more information what we had going on last year. And we have 2 action items on the agenda this evening. Sorry for the long report. It's been a busy couple weeks.
Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report for us this evening?
Nothing major to report other than I'm still working with the Baker people, or the people that own Baker now. And there should be a site plan coming to the Planning Commission in February for the main building.
Did you share with us who is going in there? If I'm mistaken, was it, did you share?
No, I don't have their
Okay.
working name
Never-
right now.
never mind.
They haven't released that yet, so.
And how much of the?
I know who it is.
Are they taking the whole piece all the way back to Carmen Park, do you know?
No, they're taking the library and the old Mandeville.
Everything across the face? So the residential structure, is that us?
It's this one.
So the residential structures, the new residence halls and that will not, those are still gonna be like kind of.
Those will still be owned by Community First right now.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they're actually buying the property and,
Leasing it to whomever it is.
no, the people that are buying are the ones using it.
Okay.
The large, about 250 employees is what they're expecting.
Mr. McIntyre, do you have a report for us this evening? No? Do we have a committee report? No? Thank you. We'll move on to number 8, Madam Treasurer, payment of bills.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we pay bills in the amount of $597,314.42. Also, there were tax disbursements in the amount of $1,730,823.40, for a grand total of $2,328,137.82 for invoices and disbursements.
And is your motion to pay the bills?
Yes.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions for Madam Treasurer? You.
Both of them did, I don't know which one she, doesn't matter.
Any questions for Madam Treasurer? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, to pay the bills in the amount of $597,314.42.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Favdor?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Klee?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Vert?
No. And that's due to attorney fees.
Alrighty. We go on to number 9. Madam Clerk, are there any correspondence or informational items for us today?
No.
I don't think so. New business, action item A, is a rezoning ordinance. We had a first reading at our last meeting. This would be a second reading, and then we're going to vote on this. And you have the information before you. Do you have anything to say on this one, Tracy?
No, this was approved back in October, and I know I've been dealing with the contractor. They're just waiting so that they can remodel this property, get somebody moved in there.
This is to change, it to rezone it from a R1B to a single-family residential zoning district.
Right.
Anybody like to see, I have the aerial of it right here, and it kind of gives you the location if you're not sure exactly how that sits. Anybody need to know it?
I'll take a look at it.
The entryway is, this building is just east of the entry to North Baptist Church off Lennon Road, right across from Dunham's, and the old white farmhouse is right next door to it. Used to be, actually, it used to be our CBDA office years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I went
Isn't it,
back,
wasn't it,
thanks.
Tracy, used to be the CBDA office? Al Watkins' office was in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it?
For a while.
Tonight's
I'm old, okay, sorry.
Tonight's the final reading, and we're going to vote to approve or deny this. Would someone like to move the action item 1, or A, I'm sorry?
Clee would move that we accept per the Township's Planning Commission and the recommendation for rezoning.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
And that's located at 3506 Lennon Road. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the rezoning ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That stands approved. Action item B. I'm going to turn it over to you, Chief Beckley.
Thank you. Your fire department is in need of additional full-time, personnel. With our call volume increasing, our on-call firefighter number is dropping, and the potential to reduce response times greatly. I feel it's time to start increasing our full-time numbers. Additional firefighters would go directly towards reopening Fire Station 1 at this point. An additional firefighter would open Fire Station 1, I put in here, of course, with no injuries, leaves, anything like that happening, approximately 110 days per year, in addition to where we are right now. In 2022, Fire Station 1 was staffed with a 24-hour firefighter, only 36 days. We did have some people out on some short-term injuries. We had a couple surgeries that had to happen last year, which brought some of our days that would typically be there with our vacation relief positions away. So we were pretty low last year. So what I'd like to request today is to increase our full-time firefighter number from 11, where we currently are, to 12. To begin that a process of reopening Fire Station 1 that would bring it back to about one-third of the year to almost one half of the year that station would be reopened with a 24-hour day firefighter.
And as the board's contemplating that, if they vote to approve that additional firefighter, there would be a budget amendment required.
That's correct. Yep. The budget amendment would be in the public safety millage for 2023, is where we would like to request that from, if possible. Thank you.
Someone like to move?
Clea would move to support to get to the point of allowing us to reopen Station 1 with 110 additional shifts. Now, I also, Clea would move that we accept the recommendation of the additional full-time position.
Is there a second to the motion?
Anderson supports.
Any questions or discussion on the motion?
Me?
Yes.
So, first of all, Kevin, I guess I'm McIntyre. Have we received anything from the state that we're in a better position than we were about 10 days ago, 14?
No, there's been no change in the,
I thought this was going to be later in the year to bring this back. That was my understanding. And we have to have an understanding with the state, they're still not tapping on the door. That's my take. And also, you hire somebody full-time with the public safety millage. What if that never gets renewed? What if, I don't know, what do you do with that employee? How are you gonna pay for it? I mean, we all hope it'll be okay. We hope it's gonna turn around. But for me right now, as hard as this is, I'm gonna have to say no to this. I really thought this was coming back a few months from now. And as long as the state still hasn't given an okay, I can't. We don't have it.
Can you address the timing of this? Is there a reason why you're doing this now rather than waiting?
The sooner the better in our eyes, just due to the number of calls that we have been running. Our on-call responses are down, our numbers are down. We've been running the year-end stats from 2022, and there's the increase in calls, the less number of people to respond to them. It's just kind of that perfect storm. This is a lengthy process to post the position, test, interview, background checks, all of that stuff. It's going to be probably April or May before we're ready to actually bring this person back to hire, to this board. So there's just a lengthy process that has to go into this, and then after that, there's still about a 3 to 4 month training, and field training time to get this person up and running. So theoretically, it's going to be middle of the year before, if we were to, get approval now, before we have somebody that's functional, operational, and in that station on their own.
So when you go to hire, are you looking for someone who already has that training 1 and 2 for firefighters? Or like when Chief Salter hires, there are some times where we have to send them to academy. Do you have an idea on that? Because that only happens once a year, is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. So our full-time entry level requirements are set up by civil service, and we do require 5 years as a firefighter to even apply for our full-time positions here. Due to the fact that you're on a one-person fire engine, there's only one person on our engines when they respond. So we can't put a brand-new firefighter fresh out of the academy in that spot. It takes years to kind of build up that foundation, that knowledge to be able to do that. So they would already be trained, they would already be certified, they would already have 5 years of experience at least when they came to us. All of the educational requirements that we already require. So they would already be ready to go. It's just training them on how we operate here, how our department works, and kind of getting them up and running. So they would not have to be sent to the academy like we would do with our on-call firefighters. They will already come to us trained.
So this position is going to be paid out of the public safety millage, right?
That's correct.
And there's 2 years left on the remaining millage, and in 10 years, that was just approved, right?
Right.
And should we get ourselves in a jam, there's, we know of one person who may retire within the next 12 years. So that'd be taken care of through attrition or not hiring any others.
That's correct. That's correct.
Any other questions for Chief Beckley?
Yes. So I noticed you said that there wouldn't be any additional training required because there's someone that's already in this, you would pick from a pool of individuals that are already qualified.
That's
and trained.
correct. That's
So that
correct.
would actually save us money as far as when it comes to training and,
Yeah, so all of our full-time firefighters, when they come to us, they're already a certified firefighter. They're already trained. There may be some additional training that we need to send them to, but the basic training and the basic cost, to actually become a firefighter and have all those basic educational opportunities out of the way, they're already done before they come to us. Where if we were to hire a new on-call firefighter, something like that, we would have to send them out to the academy. The good thing is, right now, the academy is all paid for through the state of Michigan, through the fireworks, taxes and funds that they get. They actually fund most of the firefighter, training now within the state of Michigan. So it doesn't really cost us much besides some wages now. So it's really improved in the past, 5 to 10 years here. There used to be about $1,000, a cost per student, and now that's gone.
Any further questions this way? No?
Are you down, are you guys?
All set.
So, if I may, I'm totally in support of this, and I had thought, in the same situation to what Ms. Vert had brought to us, was that we would be looking at this later on down the road. However, after having conversations with yourself, and looking at the time frame, and having sat on the civil service for both PD and FD, it is a long process. It takes a while, and we wouldn't actually incur salary costs for quite some time out in that respect. So, and then one of the only other costs we would have, I'm just jotting notes again, turnout gear and their necessary equipment would be things that we pay, but we pay that for their, for their safety anyway. But to have the opportunity, my gut jumps back to have the opportunity to open Station 1 right next door here and to reduce, which there are some people in this room that have seen the response times based on Station 3 to the south and Station 2 to the north, and what Station 1 would do to reduce response times. One thing that is extremely supportive. It helps us with additional firefighters. I know our on-calls are way down. I'm begging kids that are turning 18 all day long, hey, here's a great opportunity for you. We'll pay you to go to school. We'll buy your equipment. You can get $18+ an hour and give back to the community. I think one young man is all that's come over and talked to you guys. We're having a big career fair, which I need to talk to you two tonight about. They finally finalized dates. We need you guys at the high school with the career fair coming on. So to let people understand that the giving back to the community like it was 20+ years ago, it's hard to find individuals to do that. My age down to your age, low 50 to the middle 60s, our ages are the ones that gave back. We had, police officer helpers, we had all these things. We just can't find bodies right now. It's a shame. And to open Station 1, and then I think also with some, the lack of vacation days going, which puts more bodies in one. The Kelly guy, which you folks may not or may not know, a Kelly person, and I'll be corrected by these two gentlemen, he kind of overtakes when they have a day that is their 1 on, off 2, and the Kelly guy fills that position, and that's what that individual's job is. So we could open Station 1 180 days, maybe a year, with one person added? Could we?
Somewhere in there,
Right at
maybe a little less than
165,
that.
something, depending on, knock on wood, nobody gets injured, knock on wood, the older guys, there aren't issues. Be great to offer a second firefighter, be great to get 2 more police officers right away as well. But like you said, we have to look at cost. I think the cost here is negligible compared to what the return on our investment would be. So that's why I motioned to move for it, and that's why I support both the blue and the red 100%, in any way we can.
Any further discussion?
I just want to say that I've talked to Chief Beckley, and he knows where I stand.
I know he does. Yep, I agree.
Absolutely.
But also on this agenda tonight, we want to hire other people, and we want to give raises. And so I'm a little blindsided by tonight's meeting. That's all I have to say.
So, we'll take a vote on this, and if it passes, can you bring, well, let's do that, and then I'll, if there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call please on, the motion to hire 1 additional full-time firefighter.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Vert?
No.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Board.
So the question would be, I know there's money in the budget now, but it wasn't budgeted for, and we have to make sure that we don't exceed the bottom line. Can you bring a budget amendment to the next meeting to account for this additional employee? Thank you.
And would that be, that would state the wages out would occur at the point, it doesn't go from today, it goes from when we put that person on,
Or you-
beside another firefighter.
You can wait till they have a name and they're starting. It's just, should be done before they come on
Yes.
board.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
the numbers are moved.
Action item C is to purchase a new set of turnout gear.
Thank you. After a review of our current inventory of gear, we are requesting approval to purchase five sets of gear from Dingus Fire Company for a total of $16,415.75. This gear, we have to replace it on a 10-year cycle. Our gear is only allowed to be used for 10 years, and it's required to be retired. We usually replace a few sets of gear each year to make sure that we don't have this large burden at one time. And this is just to continue that replacement plan that we're on to keep doing that. We recommend Dingus because this is the same gear that our firefighters have been using. They've tested, they've tried, we're accustomed to, and we're comfortable with. It's held up well for us now for about 6 or 7 years, I believe. And we'd like to continue with that. And we did budget for this in the 2023 fire equipment millage, so this would be a budgeted purchase.
Would someone like to make that motion?
Clee would move to accept the recommendation from Chief Beckley to hire from Dingus, to purchase from Dingus Fire Company 5 new turnout gear sets at the cost of $16,415.75.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call please on spending $16,415.75 for the purchase of 5 sets of gear from Dingus Fire Company.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Vert?
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
Action item D is a request to increase pay rate for 4 part-time, non-union contractual employees. Did you want to discuss this, or did you want to discuss this?
You could get Karen. Personnel.
Let me get to it. We have, before you, there's an there's a request to increase the pay rates of 4 part-time, non-union employees. You have the names before you. Ms. Childress is a records tech. She does evidence. She's an evidence technician. Is that correct, Chief Salter?
Yes, ma'am, evidence tech.
She's at the pay rate of $18.73 an hour, and the request is to take her to $20.60 an hour. Sarah Besson is her assistant. She's at $17 an hour, and the request is to take her to $18.70 an hour. Richard Charles is the janitorial over there, part-time. Is it 15 hours a week?
No, it's 7 hours a day, so, or less than 30 per week.
And he's at $15 to raise his rate to $18. And I have an assistant who's part-time. She's been here for 11 years. She's making $16.32 to raise her to $18 an hour. A motion would be in order to move forward.
Anderson would move that we approve the increases on the hourly rates as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll support.
Any further discussion or questions?
Yes. Do you want me to say something? Again, not that these individuals, I think, have been left behind for a long time, and they shouldn't have been. 10 or 14 days ago, we had a really difficult budget meeting, and there's not enough money. I don't know, I mean, did Santa leave an extra bag somewhere? I mean, seriously. I just don't think the timing is right. I'm gonna be a no on this, and I like all these people, but I just can't. Can't, it just doesn't make sense right now.
Anyone else?
If I may, I'll
Sure.
jump in ahead. In statement of what Ms. Vert stated, I'm not against our people being paid a fair wage. I'm totally in agreement of what we've talked about. However, having sat out of 6 of my 6 years, 5.5 of my 6.5 years here, on the negotiating committees, and in the last series of negotiations, we sat very hard and strong, and we did a good job across the board. We had very good communication. However, at this time, we have all the unions holding at any pay raises for 2022 or 2023 until the last day of 2023. And we're going into a negotiation year. And I'm not against folks getting and being paid a livable and a decent wage. And I know they're part-time. They have, again, guys, lots of notes. I'm confused here because this is and I did the math. And if I did my math wrong, correct me. 10%, 10%, 10.3%, and 20% pay raise. Our unions are going to get a 2% at the end of the year, December 31st, and everybody held. And I'm sorry, we're going into the negotiation, we're still in that situation. This is a whole different, this is a hard sell for me to say no. However, I'm willing to revisit this when Kevin receives some information and things look a little greener on the other side in the second quarter. I'm sorry, but you'll hear it in a minute. But I have to chime with Mrs. Vert. I'm sorry. I'm against a pay raise right here on these folks. I'm
Can I
not
jump in
against
real quick?
them. I'm not against them. I'm hard pressed to give 10% raises when we gave everybody else.
Further, Richard Charles, who's a janitorial service at our police department, he currently makes 25% less than what the janitorial staff makes here at the township building. For Phyllis Childers, she's been at our police department for 18 and a half years. Sarah's been there for 7.5 months. They deal with drugs, money, guns, homicide evidence, any kind of evidence. The responsibilities they have is easy to articulate why they need that money. We're trying to keep good people here.
I understand that. Chief, I have.
And that's
a hard-
why the Richard Charles is more, because he is at such a disadvantage already compared to what somebody within the township makes already.
He'd also make what he's making here, he could make more at McDonald's or Taco Bell.
And for the police department, these increases were in the budget for 2023 already. Except, I take that back, Richard Charles had a 10%, not a 20%, but I jumped it up to 20%. So the $1.50 is not in the budget this year.
And all these individuals are capped at less than 20 hours or 30 hours
Less
a
than
week.
30.
They can't
Less than
work
30.
more, they can't work more than 30 hours, and they have no benefits. They don't get paid holidays. And I think I think you articulated the reasons why you felt it was a good idea. So if there's no further, any further
Well, I'm
discussion?
not done yet.
Go ahead.
Sorry, not done yet. This is a little more information, and, we phone calls are helpful, and I'll back off. I looked at this, I did all my math, and I thought where it came from. And yeah, they're non-contractual, the wages, no perks, benefits. However, my concern, again, it goes back to how will this impact our negotiations with unions this year when we have to go into union negotiations after all of our police and fire and clerical were told we cannot afford to pay. I know, I'm looking for my Robert's Rule brain to jump in here, table this. I'm looking for how to put this into it. Somebody want to help me out on this table of 7 people?
You want to move to postpone this?
I would, there's a motion and a second on the floor.
And
I
if you
can't
want to move to
touch.
postpone this, it takes precedence. Is that what you want to do?
That's my gut feeling, yeah.
Is there a second to the
I'm gonna
motion to
ask for a move
postpone?
Postpone,
Oh, second.
No discussion here.
correct.
Roll call, please, on the move, the motion to postpone.
Treasurer Anderson?
I want everybody to be comfortable with this, so, yes.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
No?
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
And Clerk Triplett, yes.
So we shall postpone that item. Action item E, Chief Salter.
Yes, Board, in your packet, there's a request to purchase 4 patrol vehicles for the police department. Last year, usually every year we purchase 4 vehicles. Last year we purchased 1 of our patrol vehicles. This year I'm asking for 4. We currently have 19 vehicles in our fleet. Out of that 19 vehicles, 1 is waiting to get marked up, so we currently have 18 that are running operational. The bad thing about not getting our patrol vehicles every year, I know this year we had an engine that got blown up and a transmission went bad on 2 of our patrol cars. So I'm asking for the board to approve purchasing 4 police Chevrolet Tahoe vehicles. My notes are at. From Berger Chevrolet, which is in Grand Rapids, but they got through the Genesee County bid, they won that contract. That's why we're going out to Grand Rapids. That total price is $162,656. Also, I'd like to upfit them through Procom, which is a company based out of Mount Pleasant, but has a building here in Flint Township that does our vehicles for us. Total cost for that is $38,272.
A motion would be in order to move
We would
forward.
move to accept Chief Salter's recommendations of the $162,656 from Berger Chevrolet, and at the additional $38,272 to outfit from our Procom company based here in Flint Township out of the Mount Pleasant area.
Is there a second to the motion? Or, any questions or discussion? Was that you, Trustee Burt?
Yeah.
I would like to say, Chief and I have had conversations in the past 3 years about police vehicles and those types of things, and this is, I'm gonna go back to a responsibility. I used the word earlier. We should outfit our people, our employees, our staff, my educational piece, with the right tools. And this is not just a car to drive around in because it's a Tahoe, because it's four-wheel. No, this is a tool. And if you've never ridden with, if you've never seen what's in it, and you never see how these guys and gals take care of them and what they do with them, this is an extremely adequate, well, I'm gonna say less than adequate, if you will, purchase. I have no arguments with anything that we're buying for our police and fire. So that's my comment.
Any further discussion? Questions for Chief Salter? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the motion to purchase 4 Chevy Tahoes, 2023 Chevy Tahoes in the amount of, I just saw it, $162,656 with them to be outfitted at Procom in the amount of $38,272.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
And Clerk Triplett, yes.
Thank you. Action item F is Public Act 152 of 2011. Oops. I have to get to it. 1 second.
There it is.
Here we go.
Yep.
Every year, we're required by the state of Michigan to opt in or opt out when it comes to insurance for our township employees who are employed full-time. Is this if you have over 50 employees? I can't remember. Anyhow,
Change it.
according to the language of our contract, we have opted out every year since this act was passed in 2011. And it comes before this board to make that decision tonight if we're going to opt out or not. So a motion would be in order to move forward.
Anderson would move that we move forward without opting out as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Is there any questions or discussion?
Just a discussion. I know we've had a lot of conversations surrounding the opting out, and we know this year we kind of missed the date on doing anything different, but we will have an extensive review of the medical benefits and health benefits and everything that are provided to the township as we get ready for the next round of negotiations. We know things are high. We think there's some ways that we can do things a little differently. At least look at those options that are out there. We plan to put together a healthcare committee, which would be comprised of representatives from each of the unions, that we will sit down together, work together, bring in some of the outside individuals to be able to just talk about what the options are that are out there, so that, again, we will be prepared. So at this time, not opting out would save for that. Cost a lot.
We're in the third year. We have 6 unions. 5 of them have 3-year contracts, and this is the third year. It ends at the end of this year. And firefighters had a 2-year contract. It ends at this year. So this is a good time to be taking a look at and taking those actions. So we have a motion and a second to opt out of Public Act 152.
Further discussion, if I may.
Sure.
I'm going to speak to what Ms. Anderson stated, and she and I both have had conversations with groups outside of here and trying to facilitate a cost savings, but yet a product still available and a good product to the employees. And so, yeah, on looking at some individuals, and we're trying to get some packets together so we can get it to all of us and y'all can have a review of it. They have not supplied anything yet, but they're working on that, and I think it's a great opportunity to speak with these healthcare and I've already voiced to several people that I want to sit on that healthcare committee as well.
Alrighty, so I'm not sure, does this require a 2/3 vote? I think it does. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, it does.
It does, okay. Clerk Triplett? Yes. Trustee Fabdall?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just trying to keep up with you.
Action item G is to reappoint the Board of Review members. You have before you a list of our Board of Review members. They are Mary Jane Robertson, Jim Rouse, and Tim Rewert. Their term expired this month. And in order for them to move, to continue, because they're all 3 of them willing to continue doing this work, we need to reappoint them, so a motion is in order. Anyone?
Move to approve.
Is there a second to the motion?
Anderson supports.
All those in favor of reappointing those 3 members, Mary Jane Robertson, Jim Rouse, and Tim Rewert, for a
I'm
2-year
sorry.
term?
Hold it. We were talking.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was-
Action item
I didn't get the move.
H is looking at creating a floater position within the township. You were handed the job description that was put together by the AFSCME union and Personnel Committee, mostly. It's got a second revision. So Madam Clerk passed out the job description, and has 2 people that, under the general summary, it's a full-time clerical position in Flint Township Administration Building under the supervision and authority of, she has here the township clerk and the township controller. So this position has somebody covering in the sewer and water department, where 40% of their pay would come from, tax department, 15% of their pay, clerk's department, 15% of their pay, and accounting department, 15% of their pay. You have the information before you. A motion would be in order to move forward on creating this position and posting it within the union to hire. Well, they get first dibs. Has to be posted, and they get 5 days to decide whether or not they want that position.
I make a motion to hire new clerical, 3 floater position.
Anderson supports.
Any questions or discussion on this?
Yes, one is that this is a lot to go over, because it wasn't in the agenda packet. We have been talking about a floater position well before some of you guys were even on this board, for a long time. But again, it's a new position, and the fees, and I'm just, it seems like there's more duties here in one department versus the others. I don't know. I don't know how.
In some of those departments, Barb, the floater would be covering for some of the ladies, like vacation
Right.
and lunches and
Oh,
things
yeah.
like, yeah.
Oh, I know that. But I guess I'm just gonna say I'm more comfortable with Kevin being the controller, because I think this person's gonna end up too much in the clerk's department. I just have a feeling that's what's gonna happen. That's my
Respond
opinion.
to that.
Yeah.
When we originally, this is not a brand-new, I mean, it is a new position, but the board had approved this position a while back. We hired a young lady, she was a no-call, no-show. What we came up with is that that person would be stationed in the clerk's department and feed into the other departments as needed. That's always been the understanding.
For that
Yes.
person, for that individual that was hired, not for, you don't say, we okayed that, so for the next 10 years. that
For the
there's that per-
position, it was for the
It was-
position. That position was going to be,
It-
not, I'm not talking about an individual, I'm talking about the position itself. The conversation was that this individual would be there because there's only one person in the clerk's department. That person would reside there and feed into the other departments as needed.
I'm not in favor, mind you, this isn't personal.
I don't
But you're
take it-
never here.
I don't take it personal.
You're
I'm
not
all-
here.
I am here.
Well-
And how would you know that if you're not here? You pop in and out every now and then just to
I've been
do
here
attendance or
16
roll
years,
call.
and you haven't been here half as much as me. You
I
don't
have
know what
been.
I do or what I, no,
And
you
you don't
don't.
know what I do or when I'm here either, Barb.
Okay,
Well, we could ask.
Unless
Can
you,
we
you can ask
just-
whoever you want.
Excuse me, point of order, not the
And
place
if we're
nor the
doing roll
time.
call,
Not the place
So-
nor the
Thank you,
time.
Mr.
Point of
Clerk.
order, please.
I'm never here.
We have
Isn't that
a job description with the clerk and the controller on here that they would
I
answer
guess I'm
to.
invisible now then.
So I see that there's a couple of more specific under here, and like electronic poll book stuff, that's during election time, right? I mean, that's not that doesn't happen all the time.
Is that a 24/7 or is that?
No, that's just
Five during.
for during
time?
election time.
5 and 6.
I've got a question,
Sure.
Karen. So you had said percentage, so 40% of the pay coming from sewer and water, 15% of the pay through the
So,
clerk's department.
I'll break that down, but essentially, it's 60% coming out of general fund, 40% coming out of sewer and water.
Okay.
Then, because there's different departments involved, sewer and water, tax department, election, well, it's clerks, it'll be coming out of clerks, not election, is that right? Or are you gonna split that between
We're
the two
gonna
of
split
them?
between the two.
15 clerk, 15 elections.
15
accounting,
tax and
yeah.
15 accounting? Well, that's more than 60.
Wait, what?
Wait a minute. No, that's
60.
60.
That's 4
15
times
clerk,
15.
15 elect, I was
Hold
gonna,
on, 40,
that's what I was gonna ask,
15
because I
and
wanna know.
15 is, oh, that's right, that's
Where,
60.
I wanted to ask where it was coming.
Good thing I'm not the treasurer. Okay, so
Wrote it down.
we got that worked out. 60% general fund, 40% sewer and water. We have the job description, and do we have any other questions or discussion on this? We got a motion and a second.
Is what?
Anything further?
Well, and again, nothing personal. Looking at 40% of their pay is coming from sewer, this, wrong anyone, a non-elected official at this table. My gut feeling would be allow this individual to be their immediate supervisor, would be someone that is here as a full-time employee overseeing these particular individuals and these departments. Not to say that all of us aren't here on a timely and regular basis, but I'm trying to say this gracefully. There are times that all of us may or may not be here, and there are times that you are not here, and you're not here, and you're not here, and you're not here. But
I
Just
think
to
we're
protect-
feeding, I think
I'ma
we're
shut
getting
this
too
down.
technical.
I think we are too,
I
because.
think we're getting too
all right,
technical,
I just don't
and,
want it to be a
and
issue.
I think it's
think
been
we're making
working,
it.
actually. It's been working fine.
Okay.
We've had a floater in this building since September. Did she come in September, Kevin? So we've been able to see that it works very well. She's been able to cover in different places and move in and out, and it's worked well. I think we're feeding too much into this. We could always come back later if something is not working the way it should be working and address it at that particular time. So I'd like to make a motion that we go
No, they,
ahead with.
we've got a motion on the floor.
Okay.
Are we done with discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the motion to hire a floater and, with this job, description, reporting to Township Clerk and Township Controller.
Trustee Burt, no. Trustee Burt, we're voting. Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Fabdo?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last item is, action item I is to amend the 2023 calendar. And let me just add something on there that's not on there yet. Our Road Advisory Committee voted unanimously to change our meeting times to 3 PM instead of 3:30. So as we go to reprint this, on the second page at the bottom, Road Advisory Committee meetings are on the second Mondays of every month, and they'll meet at 3 PM rather than 3:30. And then there was a change to the calendar for holidays and the days that they're observed. And you have that before you. And I'm trying to remember exactly which ones they were. Let's see, it was Veterans Day, we'd be closed Monday, November 13th in observance of Veterans Day. We'd be closed November 22nd and 23rd for Thanksgiving and the day after in observance of those days. December 25th, we'd be closed in observance of the Christmas Eve, and then the 26th in observance of Christmas Day, and then the 28th in observance of New Year's Eve. So that's just the day before the weekend. So if you have that change before you, a motion would be in order to accept that by this board.
Anderson moves that we adopt the new calendar for 2023 as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
No, I have one question
Sure,
before we vote.
sure.
Because we talked about in September, because of Labor Day, that we were going to have one meeting and take off the September 5th meeting.
In my notes from there, there's nothing there.
There's
Nothing
not-
there from
It
that.
says it stays.
But we did
On
it
the
for,
5th.
and we did it for the July because I had it, and we talked about it for that.
Okay.
And if something, I guess,
Well, now's the time to do it.
well, if I may, if something occurred during the month of, late part of August or something, we could, if that issue present.
Second on the, second, so we can discuss
Oh,
it.
geez, yes. No, there was not a second. Thank you.
Wait, wasn't there?
No, Lisa moved it and
All right, I'll
Deb
second
started.
it.
Barb is seconding. Okay,
So you're talking about the meeting on September 5th.
September
Which is a
5.
Tuesday rather than the Monday, because we're closed on Labor Day. I guess it's scheduled,
Okay.
okay?
And
Any
again-
other concerns on the calendar?
again, as we spoke before, and as I just stated, if a situation presented itself, just like with elections on 8/7, and just like with election on 11/6, depending on what, if something happened on 9/5, we can always do something about it. So leave it where it stands, everybody knows where it's at, and we're moving forward.
We have a motion and a second? Who seconded it?
Barb did.
All those in favor of the changes to the 2023 calendar signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those stand approved, or that stands approved. Let me get to my agenda.
January 23rd.
The next meeting is going to be January 23rd at 6 PM, and if there's no further business, and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned. What day? That's why we, for